Hi, and welcome back. I want to talk about something that most people are thinking about, but it isn't explained well, at least in my area and what I am exploring. If you have autoimmune disease, you've probably wondered if my immune system is dysregulated, am I at higher risk for other diseases? What about cancer? And so, before I go any further, I want to remind you that my videos are for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only. I am not your private practitioner. I may be your one-on-one coach, but we will meet privately outside of this video to discuss what meets with your individual concerns. Otherwise, do your own due diligence and see, does this fit right in your program? Discuss that with your private practitioner. So, one of the things that I frequently wondered about for myself was, is my immune system so dysregulated that I'm at a higher risk for something like cancer? So, if you don't know my story, it did have radioactive iodine back in 2013 after fighting with my doctor for 6 years. Um, in 2013, she said, "You will die if you don't do this." I was scared to death. I was 90 pounds. I couldn't get any weight on me. I was drinking milkshakes. Yeah, back then I was having lots of dairy. Milkshakes, ice cream all day long, and I could not put any weight on. And she said, "You will die." So I did it. But since then, I've read all the studies about the increased cancer risk, and that's really scary, especially when it already runs in your family. So I'm not saying this to be scary and make anyone afraid or anything like that, but I want you to think about that. If something's already going on in your body, if there's some sort of disease, it does increase your chances of other illnesses. And so we need to talk about that intelligently and look at the research, the science, and what we can do to reverse things in our body to prevent anything like that happen. And if you're already experiencing things like that, what we can do to stall progress and change and improve your health for optimal health and longevity as well. Once you understand how the immune system actually works, then things don't seem so scary. As we feel empowered, we know that there are things that we can do. Maybe we don't feel good enough to do those things today, but we do the little things that we can until we can do more and more, and then that makes us feel so much better and so much healthier. So if you're new to me, I'm Jen, also known as Holistic Jen. You can find me at holisticjen.com. I am a health educator. I am a whole food plant-based culinary coach. I work with clients one-on-one. I'm also a nutritional endocrinology practitioner, and I work with clients. I have a membership group, and I work with people who have bodies that are inflamed that we need to revive and restore energy and vitality and health to these people. So most of my work focuses on autoimmune disease, inflammation, blood sugar issues, and the microbiome. So anything that's related to the endocrine system, which is pretty much everything. Over the years, I've noticed something that's very important. The same things that quiet autoimmune disease, and I hate the word quiet because it's very AI out there, but it's true. It quiets or calms the flares, the autoantibodies. Those same things support cellular resilience in general, and so it's a common thread. And so it's not gluten, it's not dairy, it's not a superfood that helps with all these things. It's all about our immune regulation, immune balancing, and things like that. So let's zoom out. Your immune system has two primary jobs. One is to defend you against outside threats. We know that, viruses, colds, things like that. The other one is to monitor and remove abnormal and damaged cells. So if you eat something that's contaminated with like an E. coli or something like that, then you eat it, your body fights it off so that hopefully it passes right on through your body and right out into the toilet bowl, right? And so we know that your body's protecting it that way. You have mucus and hairs in your nose that catch viruses and things, bind them, then you blow your nose and that removes the virus so that you don't get sick. They have other things, fighters, natural killer cells in your body that fight off different diseases. But then you also have cells that are constantly being broken down. We've heard that we all have these mini micro Abnormal cells that could develop into other issues. And our body is supposed to help monitor those. The cells are supposed to self-destruct. And then any of those damaged cells and things like that are supposed to be gathered up and removed, carried. We hear about things going in the lymph system, moving through the body, and then moving out. So the second job is one that we don't think about as much, right? But every single day, your body is producing abnormal cells. It's normal. It's what happens as we go through our daily life. A healthy immune system recognizes these damaged things and it clears them out. When we're talking about autoimmune disease and cancer, we're talking about different expressions of immune imbalance. So, autoimmune disease, the autoimmune system is misdirected and it's attacking healthy tissue for some reason, and it could be various reasons. Your body is thinking it's protecting itself and it's accidentally hitting targets of your own body, yourself. It's a kind of a self-destruction. Is for me, my very first diagnosis was Graves' disease, which is autoimmune thyroid. And so there were misfirings. It was attacking tissue of my thyroid. We know things like gluten proteins look just like thyroid proteins. They mimic them, not just like, they're not identical, but very, very similar. And if you are on high alert and you know someone's attacking you, then you're looking for something that looks just like whatever's attacking you, right? And so that's what's going on in here. And so it's attacking what it thinks is those proteins, but they look just like the thyroid. So it sees those thyroid proteins and it says, oh, there it is, and it attacks it. Oops, that wasn't it. That wasn't protein, but the gluten, but it accidentally hits it. In cancer, the immune system either fails to detect something's abnormal or it fails to eliminate those abnormal cells effectively. So in both cases, it's not because we have a weakened immune system, it's the immune system's not exactly doing what it was programmed to do. Whoever wrote the code for your immune system, for some reason, something has been rewritten and it's not doing exactly what it's supposed to do for optimal health. So we also need to talk about inflammation because that's where we have a lot of overlap. So inflammation is not bad. If I cut my hand, I want it to naturally close up, scab over, and prevent any bleeding. I want the bleeding to come out because there could be some germs that went in when my hand got cut. It's going to flush those germs out. We use the word germs, but it's going to flush things out that I don't want in there. Could be dirt even or particles, the blood is. And then my clotting factors are going to work. It's going to scab over and everything's going to heal nicely. Sometimes I need to add a salve or a healing herb or fomentation or something to prevent any infection. Sometimes it's just simple soap and water and then allowing it to scab and heal. But that's inflammation. Blood came to the area to provide those clotting factors to help with that healing. So I want inflammation if I'm injured in an acute manner, meaning it just happened, I want it to heal, right? I break my arm, I want inflammation to come to the area, provide the nutrients that are needed to support my bones to knit together and heal, right? But we don't want that to happen over and over and over again. So in autoimmune disease, back to my Graves example, I was eating gluten. I ate gluten for a long, long, long time. And every time I was eating gluten, it was shooting at those gluten proteins. I was also drinking high dairy. Dairy can also cross-react. I was also eating gluten up until a few years ago. I mean, corn. I didn't realize that corn was also triggering factors for me. Maybe not for the Graves, but some of the other autoimmune diseases I ended up developing over the years. And so my body has been shooting since 2007 up until a few years ago. I had a flare actually at Christmas. Luckily, it calmed down right away. But that inflammation is lasting a long time. And when it lasts for a long time, it wears out your body, wears out these other systems so that it's just working and working and working and working. You can see what's happening. More and more stress is happening in the body. And if I am spending all my time and all my nutrition and all my energy trying to protect you and attacking these proteins, then I'm not necessarily over here repairing cells and removing cells. I am worn out and I'm stretched thin. And if if you're like me, I've had jobs where I've been worn out and stretched too thin, and you probably have too, and that's what's going on in the immune system. Well, if you already have an autoimmune disease and you're getting worn out and you're not able to protect these other things, that's when other autoimmune diseases appear, and then that's when other symptoms kind of get out of control. And if there's abnormal cells that aren't being protected, removed, transformed, broken down, then that is when cancers can grow. And so that is why we really need to pay close attention to that. And it means that we need to go back to the microbiome, which we haven't even talked about yet, but the terrain matters. What's going on in the body matters very much. And so I want to be really clear. The goal is not to suppress the immune system, which is what they give you when you have an autoimmune condition. They give you immune suppressors. I was on them. I was on them from 2007 to 2013, off and on and off and on. I'd go into remission, I'd be fine. And then I was in a terrible car accident and I wasn't fine. And they put me back on immune suppressors and they didn't work. And then that's when they told me I had to have the radioactive iodine. But most people who have autoimmune disease are put on immune suppressors. We're trying to calm the immune system. Well, guess what? We don't want to calm the immune system. We want the immune system to still work. We just need it to get a break. We need to figure out what's going on in the body. For me, it was gluten, it was dairy, and it was corn. I was also overdoing it and lots of stress. And it wasn't until a year ago that I actually learned how to meditate. I knew back in 2007 I needed to chill out, right? But it took me all the way until last year to actually learn how to meditate. I wasn't prioritizing it. It was too woo to me. You know, I can exercise, I can eat, I can do all those things, but I'm not going to slow down and sit down and meditate. It took me a long time. So we have to see what is the hang up for you, but we also need to assess the risk going on with you or someone you love as well. It's really, really complicated and complex when we look at the bodies as a whole, everyone's. So if we're looking at an autoimmune disease case, we're looking at chronic inflammation. How long have they had the autoimmune disease? It takes years to get diagnosed. It may have been going on forever. For me, I have a feeling it was back in my teens. And so I probably had it for 20 years before I was ever diagnosed. But there's chronic inflammation in there. There's long-term tissue damage because, like I said, it could take years to get diagnosed. Certain medications are involved. What's going on with the side effects, right? The immune system's getting exhausted, like I talked about. And then there's oxidative stress or rusting that's occurring. That's the damage that's going on in the body. How well are we recovering from that oxidative damage? Are we giving ourselves the minerals, the vitamins, and things, phytochemicals that are needed to repair tissues so they don't get damaged too far along the line? The good news is that the same things that are used to support the body in autoimmune disease also support cellular stability. And so this is all about supporting immune balance, getting the body back into balance so that we can predict what's going on in the body. We want to predict what's going to be happening next. We want the body, including the immune system, to feel safe. And we feel safe when we can predict what's going to be happening next, right? And so we want the body to be given a steady source of nutrients on a regular basis, not just once or twice a week. We don't want to, just do whatever we want on the weekend and cause more damage that we're going to have to heal for a few days. It takes us till Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of recovering from the weekend. So then Thursday and Friday, we're starting to heal and recover. And then we, go on another binge for the weekend. That doesn't work. We have to be consistent. And I know that sounds boring, but if you really want to heal, recover, and prevent further damage, that's what you have to do. And so ways we can include food, which is my favorite thing. I am a whole food plant-based culinary coach because I love food. I love food and I love different flavors and I don't eat salads all day, right? But food influences our blood sugar. When blood sugar is out of balance, cortisol goes up, inflammation increases. We have to keep blood sugar in balance. We have to work on insulin signaling. And so we see, and a lot of people follow keto and they don't cut out dairy. But we found that dairy increases insulin even when glucose doesn't go up. And so you don't realize the insulin's going up. And when insulin goes up, we don't have the repair that's going on in the body. We need insulin to be down. That we need blood sugar down, we need insulin down. Coffee can also raise insulin. We have oxidative stress. So we need the foods that help with oxidative stress, reversing that oxidation or rusting that's occurring. So um, inflammatory foods are brightly colored foods, those antioxidants. So we have oxidative damage, then antioxidants like vitamin C that's found in these brightly colored foods helps to reverse that. We have gut microbiome diversity. You may have heard the 30 food challenge. And so eating 30 different plant foods in a week provides lots of diversity to feed all the different microbes that protect us in our gut. And that's so important, something that I would like to dig into further in another video. Short chain fatty acid production like butyrate, keeping the integrity of the gut lining nice and strong and healthy so that we don't have accidental proteins getting through the gut. And so it's not just eating the gluten. For me, it was eating the gluten and then the gluten was getting through the gut lining, activating the immune system. Those things aren't supposed to go through the intestinal lining. They're supposed to pass through or broken down. And then inflammatory pathways. How can we help to control the inflammatory pathways? And there's lots of foods that we can use to help with that. So I don't want this video to be too long. I've already gone long enough. This is going to be a series of several videos. The real connection between autoimmune disease and cancer is not inevitable. Just because you have one does not mean it's going to happen to the other. We can reverse things and protect your body. It's not gloom and doom. It's not fear. And your immune system's not broken. It's just out of whack. We have to just find that one little tweak to fix it to help the immune system strengthen, gain its vitality so that it can balance things and do the things like heal your gut and protect you from damaged cells and to remove those. So it's very empowering. And I would love to help you with this. If you like this type of information and you want to learn more and you would want to do it in a nice, safe environment with like-minded people who love the nerdy food science, then you can come and check out my membership group, the Culinary Healing Circle. It's $19 to try it for a month. And then you can see pricing from there. You can go to culinaryhealingcircle.com. But we combine science with real life in your kitchen with weekly live classes from at least two to three food demos a month, an herbalism class every month, a master class, and I give you lots and lots of recipes so you can create meals that feel doable and fit your lifestyle. You don't have to eat just like me, but I do have some tricks and tips and things that can help you eat in a healthier way to help to restore your body. If you're tired of being afraid of food and want steady support in a space that was built for you, check out culinaryhealingcircle.com. In my next video, I'm going to be talking specifically about anti-inflammatory foods and whether they can support long-term health and what that means for you and your body. If this conversation feels grounding, then this is the space we're building here. I'd love for you to check out Culinary Healing Circle. Like and subscribe to my channel. If you like what I'm talking about today, let me know. If there's something else you want me to talk about, I would love to hear that too. I love to hear from you. Have a great week. I'll see you soon.